Hello and welcome to Beast and Motorcycles. I've just got back from the motorcycle news show at the XO in London, and I could have taken loads of photos of the bikes, shown you what was there, and talked you through it. But most of you are going to see it on 44 Teeth or on all the other YouTube channels that are going to go to the XL, and they're going to do it to you. What I wanted to do is I wanted to give you more of a personal experience of how I feel about that show in general. Now, first of all, I'd like to say thanks to all the organisers for putting it on and giving us something to do on a Sunday afternoon in the middle of winter when we've got nothing to do. There's loads of stuff to see there. There's loads of bike manufacturers there. The other channels have spoken about what bike manufacturers are there. You've got KTM, which I'm quite shocked to see there. Obviously, they've been in the dumps, KTM. Hopefully, they recover. You've got a couple of different Harley Davidson dealerships. You've got Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Ducati, Royal Enfield, BSA, and a couple of others. The good points of the show is there's loads there to see, which is quite nice, and there's lots of stalls there to buy stuff. Some of the helmets that I saw there were actually quite fantastic. But the bad points of the show is actually no, it's not the bad points of the show. It's the bad points of the motorcycle industry at the moment. I'm finding, from a personal point of view, all the modern bikes that are on these stands, bar maybe a handful, are really uninspiring vehicles. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what we do. Leave comments below. The modern motorcycling industry, in short, or modern motorcycles in short, are becoming overweight, middle-aged, boring golf players. They may well be faster at accelerating and faster at stopping than the old bikes, but that is not what motorcycling is about. So when I went to the MCN today, what I actually got from watching the stands, seeing the stands, looking at all the people looking at the motorcycles, is that it's a bit boring. And if we think why the motorcycle industry is declining and people aren't buying bikes like they used to, fundamentally, I don't think the manufacturers are making bikes that people want to buy. Triumph sell loads of bikes. Triumph sell a hell of a lot of bikes because their range is actually quite exciting. They've got a massive range of motorcycles that are based around their classic style bikes like their Bonneville and their Thruxton, and that inspires people to buy them. Most of you out there have absolutely little to no idea how to take an angle grinder or welder and wire and parts, chop your bikes up and rebuild them to make them into cafe races, because you weren't brought up on that style of riding like the guys in the 40s, 50s and 60s were, and 70s. Most of us now expect to walk into a showroom, buy a bike, go out and it works. And we want to buy what we want off the shelf. And Triumph have picked up on that. Triumph have picked up on the fact that you as a consumer want a cafe racer. Here's our Thruxton. And if you don't want the Thruxton because you want something a little bit more special, here's the Thruxton RS or whatever it is that they've put together. They've done it with their Street Scrambler. You want a Scrambler off the shelf? We've done it. We've given it up swept pipes, so it looks like the sort of bike that Steve McQueen would have ridden back in the 60s, 70s, during the film, 60s, in his filming career. And they're selling those. They're selling them because they're exciting, fun-looking bikes. If the other manufacturers are wondering why they may not be selling as many bikes as Triumph are, it is because your bikes are boring. Now, I am a huge fan of Honda as a manufacturer of things, not just bikes, not just cars, but if you want anything that is reliable, you buy a Honda. On the Honda stand today, I looked at it and I was like, they didn't even have a monkey bike on the Honda stand. One of the coolest bikes Honda produces, the monkey bike. They didn't have a Grom. Where was the Grom on the stand? Honda Grom and the Honda monkey bike are two of the coolest, most exciting bikes that Honda produce. Yes, they've got their Fireblade, brilliant. We know how good the Fireblade is, but the modern Fireblade has got loads of rider aids on it. It's not going to be as exciting as the one that was originally designed all them years ago in the 90s that made every test rider soil their underpants with fear. They all said it turned into corners like nothing else they'd ever ridden. So as a manufacturer, if you're manufacturing motorcycles, and I'm not saying I could do any better, I haven't got billions of pounds for R&D and all that crap, but if you're manufacturing motorcycles, maybe don't worry about so much about how good your traction control system is. Yes, it has to be good for obvious reasons, or your ABS. How about you start producing bikes that people look at and want to buy? I got shown a Thruxton Gedge's Triumph Friday by one of the salesmen there, a guy called Jim, lovely chap, always helps me out with my parts the same as Gavin does. And they've got this steel strip down the centre of the tank with this old-fashioned lockable petrol tank. Looks like it was on the side of a Jaguar E-Type or something. And I just looked at this bike, I was like, that is so cool. Someone has taken a genuine effort to look at the old style bikes, put that down on a piece of paper, and Triumph have taken it and built something really cool. Lost for words for most of the manufacturers, to be honest with you. Lost for words. If you want to sell more bikes, you need to appeal to more people than just those who want as many panniers as they can get on their bike to go to the cafe and back and put their crash helmet in a pannier. There are people out there, and they're on the internet, they're making the videos, they're travelling Europe or they're going around America, and they don't want to do it on a bike like that. They want to do it on something that actually might be slightly uncomfortable but looks really good while they're doing it and makes them smile when they're whooshing around the switchbacks in the Alps, or they're trundling down the longest highway in America, and they want to be sat in that position going, oh yeah, this is easy, it's like an armchair, this is nice and comfortable at 55 mile an hour. Not everyone wants to be sat in that upright, rigid, what I would refer to as police position of riding. And that's what all the bike industry seems to be. It seems to be at the moment, race bike. We've built another race bike, or we've built another all-terrain bike, ADV bikes, whatever you want to call them. And they're quite uninspiring, dull items. Honda should have done on the stand, they should have absolutely put a Grom on there that they tricked out, or a monkey bike that they tricked out. These are two of the coolest bikes on the market. I'm 6'4", I'd love 6'3", 6'4", I'd love to have a ride on a Grom or own a Grom to go around and look like a clown going like that. But that would be good fun. It'd be funny. I'd even wear a brightly coloured helmet and a bright pink jacket or something just for the laugh of it. But no one's building inspiring bikes. Harley Davidson still building their standard bike they've been building for years, but with the M8 engine in it, and the chassis are all very similar because that's what their customers want. Even they've started building grand touring all-terrain vehicles, and I wasn't that impressed by their version of it. Just start looking at some of the bikes. The manufacturers a few years ago started to bring out things like the GSX 1400. The Z900 RS is a bike that they've had out now a few years from Kawasaki, Suzuki's GSX 1400, the XJ 1300. These massive, big bikes that were based around what came out in the 70s and 80s, muscle bikes. People love a muscle bike. The reason those bikes are really expensive in the second-hand market is because there is a desire to own them. So why not start rebuilding those bikes and making versions of those bikes as a desire, as the customer's desire to own them? You're only going to sell what people want. And I don't think people always want what manufacturers are designing. And that's why we have a declining industry. The manufacturers need to start looking at their classic ranges. Like the Bandit. Why don't Suzuki produce a Bandit anymore? Why don't they produce a really cool mid-range 600 wheelie bike? Because that's what the Bandit was. It was a parts bike, one of their most successful sales bikes, the same as Ducati's Monster, were parts bin bikes. They went, we're collapsing as a company. How can we make bikes for no money without any R&D and throw them together? Ducati came up with a 750 and 900 Monster, and Suzuki came out with the Suzuki Bandit 600, 1200. And they are still, again, really popular bikes. There are loads of Bandits for sale on the internet, and they sell really quickly. They sell all day like that, because they're actually a fun bike that people want to ride. The MCN was a really well put together show. The people that put it together worked very hard. They put it, there's stuff in play for you to do, to look at. They had the likes of Chris Walker there racing with John McGuinness in the little arena. fantastic idea watching them, being able to watch them blokes race around a really small arena indoors, really talented riders. You know, they had Henry Cole there on the stage with Skid and Alan Millyard and Steve Parish. We want to see this. This is great. Sitting there listening to these guys talk. They've been in the industry years and years and years. They're on our telly box and we watch them. But the rest of it was a little bit uninspiring.